Greetings, Earthlings! Welcome back to 7th Street.
I decide everything that happens on this island. I am the law.
Shitty Italian creature features. It doesn't get much better than this. Oh boy, in the late 70s and early 80s, the Italian film industry could do no wrong. Spaghetti westerns, giallos, war epics, zombie films, they were on fire. Every subgenre they touched turned to pure gold, at least in my opinion. But I have shitty taste, so take it with a grain of salt. Now, when it comes to creature features, this is where I feel the Italians really hit their stride. They're like Roger Corman monster movies, but with a whole lot more nudity and gore. There are a wealth of incredibly fun, cheesy Italian exploitation creature features. Devilfish by Lamberto Bava, Cruel Jaws by Bruno Mattei, Wild Beasts by Franco Prosperi. Oh yeah, the Wild Beasts. I should review that one next. But two of my absolute favorite Italian monster films come back to back in 1979 by master director Sergio Martino. The first of which is The Great Alligator, which is not actually all that good, but I do find myself rewatching it all the time. And the other one is the classic reimagining of The Island of Dr. Moreau, titled Island of the Fishmen. The movie begins with a group of survivors of a sunken prison ship floating adrift in the ocean. Several crew members along with several prisoners make up our cast of castaways, and oh shit, Claudio Casanelli! Dope!
If you don't save your strength, you'll go first. Then you won't have the satisfaction of watching me die.
Already, I really dig this dynamic. I love when two mortal enemies are forced to work together in order to survive. It always lends some nice, tense undertones to each scene. Eventually, the lost men manage to drift near an island and make it to shore. They soon find that this is an uncharted island, and very quickly the men meet violent ends due to the perils of the island. Flesh-eating creature from the Black Lagoon ripoffs. All men perish except the ship's doctor and his first mate, who, while trudging through the jungle, stumble across the remnants of a voodoo ceremony. Oh shit, it's Ringo Starr's wife.
Stay where you are. Who are you?
It's here that we meet the owner of the island, an insane reclusive doctor played by the always amazing Richard Johnson, who is in a number of genre classics, including The Haunting, Lucio Fulci's Zombie, and Beyond the Door. Richard Johnson is a classically trained actor and always turns out a terrific performance no matter what movie he's doing.
Sweet girl, Amanda. She can't bear to think of anything unpleasant happening to her daddy.
I see. You blackmailed her by threatening to kill the old man.
Precisely, dear boy.
I just realized that if Richard Johnson went by his nickname, he'd be Dick Johnson. Two slang terms for a penis. Interesting. Dick Johnson's character is not only a brilliant scientist, but he also controls a group of voodoo tribes people that intend on scavenging the riches of Atlantis that just happens to be 2,000 feet below the waters of the island. The Doctor has been using the seclusion of the island to perform weird biological experiments, creating the perfect cross between a human and a fish whom can survive in any environment, using the fishmen to collect the riches of the underwater Atlantis.
You're not a scientist. You're a madman. An insane criminal.
If I had to pick one thing about Island of the Fishmen to complain about, it's that it's way too long. 100 minutes is just too much for an Italian creature feature. The second act of this film just sort of putters around for a bit, not really providing much action, instead giving us sort of an uninteresting drama between Barbara Bach and Claudio Casanelli.
You don't have to explain anything. I know the whole story. In fact, I'm afraid I know more than you do. Let's go and see your father.
Eventually, around the 1 hour mark, the movie kicks back into high gear when the monstrous fishmen decide to turn on the Doctor, and the whole island is engulfed in chaos as the fishmen run amok while a volcano erupts. The movie sure does end in that classic Jules Verne H.G. Wells fashion, and it almost at times reminds me a bit of a Hammer science fiction film from the early 70s. You know, something like Lost Continent. Okay, so yes, the film's budgetary limitations do show through at times, with the fishermen's suits looking rather cheap and plasticky. However, the cast does really shine and carry it. Richard Johnson turns in a deliciously villainous performance, while director Martino clearly has fun with this action-adventure type of story. Along with The Great Alligator and this film's sequel, The Fishmen and Their Queen, it's probably the best of his later work. Interestingly, the film was purchased for US release by none other than the King of Bees himself, Roger Corman, and new footage featuring Cameron Mitchell was shot and inserted into the film. It's rumored that a young Joe Dante actually directed these new scenes that were sloppily inserted into the film. If I had the pleasure of meeting Joe Dante, that would be the one question that I'd ask him. Mostly as a troll, but I'd honestly like to know. Mr. Dante, did you in fact shoot the Americanized scenes for Island of the Fishmen? The world may never know.
I shouldn't worry about him, dear boy. He is a criminal. A misfit.
Island of the Fishmen is a wildly entertaining romp through the creature feature genre, firmly in the H.G. Wells vein. All the familiar elements are there. It's not a movie to make you think. It's not really a lost classic, just an amazingly entertaining monster film. Blood, boobs, and beasts. What else do you want from a movie like this? The original Italian cut of Island of the Fishmen is relatively hard to get a physical copy of, but you can see the Corman Screamers cut for free on Amazon Prime. It's totally worth a watch, so reference this film.
They saved us. I knew they would.